Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country. Here we are, it's Thursday, it's 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning in London at 1 a.m. It's 3 a.m. in Israel, and it's 9 a.m. in Tokyo, Japan. Welcome aboard to another edition of Talk Back Live. Thank you so much for being along with us. We're going to be here for the next hour. We're here every Thursday at this time for one full hour. And in that hour, we get together and we have conversation, and we'd like you to be part of it. Now, as a host of the show, I get things started by doing what I'm doing now, opening up, start conversation going. And in the meantime, all you have to do is use your fingers on your keyboard, on your telephone, your smartphone, or whatever you have there, along with your tablet. And if you see us, you just type us in, whatever you want to talk about, and we will entertain all of your thoughts and ideas. That's how you can communicate with us. And that's why we call it Talk Back Live. So thank you again for being with us. And we come to you from three different places. If you're here for the very first time, well, we're on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube, and we're on Instagram. And you're watching us on one of those outlets, right? And so you can stay with us and enjoy the conversation and, of course, have a little fun with us. Now, if you're watching us on Facebook, we want you to take the time right now to tell all your friends. And you can do that right now by tagging them. Now, if you don't want to tag all of them, you may have too many to tag, maybe just a select a few, 1 or 2, 3, 4, the more the merrier. Tag them and they'll see that notification, and what they'll do, they'll click on, and it automatically brings them to us right here where we are, and they'll get a chance to see you, me, and everyone who's involved here. And of course, that's the way we do things. And if you're watching us on YouTube, of course, I always encourage you to click on to my YouTube channel, go there and click on to subscribe. Take your mouse, drag it along, and click on to that. Now, there's no charge for that. It's absolutely free. We don't ask for any money, no notes or anything like that. And all you have to do is just be part of us. It makes you part of us because each time we come on the air live, you'll get a notification. Only because of the fact that you subscribe, you automatically get that. Because sometimes you may be relaxing on the computer doing something else when the show comes on, and you might forget about the show coming on. So all you have to do is look at that notification when it pops up, click onto it, and it brings you right to the channel, and you don't have to miss a show. And even if we so much as post a video of some sort, of course, you get notification too. That's the benefit of that. And if you're watching us on Instagram, well, we just want to say hi. You don't have to do anything special. Just keep telling your friends and your family about us. Keep the word percolating and letting them know that we're out here each week at this time. You may be in a different time zone. We're coming to you live from New York. That's where we originate. So we're on the Eastern time zone, but you may be on a different time zone. So if you look at your clock and see that whatever time you see there, that's the time we come on in your area each week. So we thank you so much for being along with us. We still do our regular routine each week. Of course, you already know that we have a lot of things going on in conjunction with talking to you and talking to everyone that's around us. We also have our regular routine. And one of the things that we do is we bring on sports. Brian Camp coming out of Charlotte, North Carolina, with the latest developments in today's world of sports. He will be here. You'll get a chance to meet him. He will be here live with us. And of course, if you're watching us on Facebook, you'll see him. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see him. Unfortunately, if you're watching us on Instagram, you won't get a chance to see him because we're not set up that way, but you can hear him. And you can still communicate with him. If you have any kind of sports questions, anything to that nature, of course, you could just type it in. We'll see it. And we'll relay all of that information to him, and he'll be able to answer your questions live. And I know a lot of you out there love sports, as I do. And you may have something that you're not aware of, or maybe something you lost track of, something in the sports world, and you just want to know more about it. he has the answers and he'll give us that. So all of that's coming up too. Also what's coming up, we have what we call This Day in History. And each week we do that, whatever happened on this day, today, the 12th of October, on this day in history, we're going to have some of that for you. That's coming up later on in the program as well. And before the show is over, I do what I do each week. I bring you those old movies directly from Turner Classic Movies, movies that you love. I know you love those old movies. And we bring you those Turner Classic Movies, and they're my picks of the week. And with the pick of the week, that gives me the opportunity to, let's say, for instance, this weekend, you want to do something other than what you normally do. And one of the things that you want to do is catch up on some old movies, right? And so the movies that I have for you, I just want to add to your bucket list of what to watch. So all of that is coming up. And remember that all of the opinions, view and the opinions expressed on this show, Talk Back Live, does not necessarily reflect the view or the opinions of the people of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Zoom, or any social media or broadcast outlet. It's been a long week, and I say that each week because it's been long, even though it doesn't seem long. You know, I hope you had a wonderful Columbus Day holiday. That wasn't really a holiday, but some people have taken off. I noticed here in New York City, where I am, that particular day, it wasn't like the normal day. So a lot of people took off. It wasn't a real legal holiday, a federal holiday, but it was a holiday, and that was Christopher Columbus, right? And also celebrating with that, the same day, at the same time, we were celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. So we were celebrating all of those. I'm pretty sure they had the parades going on. They had festivities going on too in New York at, I believe it was Randall's Island, someplace over there. And then, of course, they had the parade on Fifth Avenue in New York. And so it was a festive day. So a lot of people who had a chance to take off, or who were fortunate to take off, had a chance to go to the parade or do whatever they do. It was a great day for that. And the weather wasn't that bad either. So there you go. But we hope that but for the rest of you guys, if you work, you know, you didn't have a long weekend, but some did. But I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Anyway, the chill is back in the air now, wherever you are, I'm pretty sure. And of course, unless you're living in one of those warmer climates where it takes time before the weather gets chilly, or if you're living on the other side of the world, as we get winter and fall and all of those cold weather forecasts that may be coming along pretty soon, you're on the other side of the world enjoying the hot weather. And so I kind of envy you in that sense, because I'm a hot weather kind of a guy. You know, I love the warm weather where you can get out and do things. But the thing of the past is, for us, what we did here, with those outdoor activities, that's kind of like behind us right now. So we got to get set for the winter. And since we are in October is another day, another thing that's happening in October, which is basically for the kids, but adults like it too. The very last day of this month will be Halloween. Halloween night, people will be coming out. The kids will be out with their parents trick-or-treating. And I do urge the parents to go with their children as they trick-or-treat. It's not like it was before. When I was coming up as a kid, we didn't need our parents around us. We just went door to door collecting candy and whatever the neighborhood other parents had for us. We were able to do that. But it's a total different ball game today. And if you want to be safe with your children. It got to the point too where whenever they collect the candies, parents examine them and things like that. I've heard all kinds of horror stories over the years about Halloween. And that's why I urge parents to go with their children, let them dress up in their fancy costumes and have a good time too, but go with them and be on the safe side. That's the way it's done. On the safe side. That's what we look forward to. Anyway, as I said, we're going to be here, and just in case you're just joining in this very minute, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. So we urge you, ladies and gentlemen, to get involved and get involved in conversation. And you can do it anytime you like. And as I said, all it takes is your fingers, and you type on your keyboard on your computer, and also You can type on the your telephone and your tablet and all of that. Look for all of that to happen. So again, here we are. Now, as you look at your clock, we're coming up 10 minutes past the hour. The time is going fast, and the time goes so fast. And we look forward to Brian Camp coming in with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. We have all of that coming for you as we move along. Well, if you have not done it yet, maybe it's about time that you have done it. And as you already know, this is the flu season. There's no way around that. This is the flu season. And that means all of your flu shots, vaccines are available right now. For if you want to take the flu shots, they're available right now. They have been since, I believe, tail end of August. Well, I guess the tail end of August, the very beginning of September, that's when they came out. And usually the good time is to take your flu shots around this time. This is a good time to do it right now if you haven't taken it yet. Some people like to wait around. Some people don't like to take it that early. And so I took mine already. So I'm pretty good to go. And if you haven't done yours yet, please go out there and do that. It only takes a minute. And in some cases, you may have to make an appointment to do that. Depending on where you are, some people could walk into a pharmacist. And of course, they can get their flu shots right then and there. But other places, well, we used to do it here. We used to just walk right in and get the shot. But now over here where I am, it's now that you have to make an appointment to do that. And so, but it's better to do that than not to do it at all. And so once you make your appointment, keep the appointment, get it over with, it'll be fine. And of course, the only effect that you'll find is that it'll hurt a little bit. Of course, you get a needle in the arm, which, by the way, you don't really feel, but, the after effects, you get a pain in the arm, but, that lasts for about a day or so, and then it's all over. Also available are the shots for COVID-19. Now, they have the updated shots for you. They're updated. And of course, you want to try to take those too. This is the update shot. Now, if you've never taken the COVID shot in your life, this is a good time to do it. This is a very good time to do it because a lot of people, some people were sitting on the fence. Some people were wondering, well, should I take the shot or not? And some people, they don't believe in shots. Some people won't take shots because they figure, well, something, I already had COVID, so I'm pretty much in the clear. Let me explain something to you about that. The COVID shot is a shot that you should take. And now, if you unfortunately got COVID, you may be immune to a certain point, but that's only temporarily. So it's best to take that shot and get it over with. Now, you can take both shots at the same time. You can take the COVID shot and you can take the flu shot at the same time. They say you can do that if you desire. That would be on you to decide to do that. And as far as the COVID shots being paid for by your insurance company, I think you're okay in that department. They changed that. At one time, they said, well, people walked in, they had to cancel their appointment because they found out that the insurance company wasn't paying for it. But later on, the news came out where they straightened all of that out for the most part, that you could take your COVID shots, and of course, it will be paid for by your insurance company. But make sure you go to your doctor and check that out for sure to make sure that they'll do that for you. There are other options if they don't. And of course, you'll be taken care of. And all through the program, we'll be talking about a lot of things. And you heard about the disturbing videos, because we got a war going on with Israel and Hamas. All right. And you saw the disturbing videos show the indication of senior citizens, women, children, the elderly being taken hostage. And we're going to talk more about this later on. And they, at this particular point, Hamas, who attacked Israel, they're on the U.S. list of terrorist organization. as they invade the country. They invaded Saturday. So we woke up Saturday finding out that there was something going on there. Some people, depending on where you were, you could have went to bed knowing the news, or like most people, they woke up Saturday morning and found out about it. But we're going to talk more about that later on in the program. Michael Carrillo, a restaurateur, and he's a chef and is also a Food Network personality, has died. Carrillo died at Queens of Valley Medical Center in Napa, California, after spending a week for treatment for the allergic reaction that led him to anaphylactic shock. He was 61 years old. And news that came out today, Rudolph Isley of the Isley Brothers, he's a founding member of the Isley Brothers band, has died also. He died Wednesday in Illinois, and the cause of death is unknown. However, insiders said that Isley is believed to have suffered a heart attack. He was 84 years old. And actress Phyllis Coates, who first portrayed Clark Kent in the leading lady role back in 1951, the film Superman, she died Wednesday of natural causes. Her daughter, Laura Press, confirmed that the death was very peaceful. Phyllis Coates died at the age of 93 years old. She was the very first Lois Lane on the TV version of Superman, and then came Noel Neill. But Noel Neill was the Lois Lane in the Superman movies back in the 30s. Okay, it's time right now, and we're going to move along. And right now, we're going to go over to Charlotte, North Carolina, and we link up with him each week at this time. And we're going to link up with Brian Camp because he's out there right now, and he's here bringing us the latest developments in today's world of sports. First of all, Brian, I want to officially welcome you back. You had the week off last week, so it's good to see you.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to be back for these few days. I'll be on the road first thing early tomorrow morning. I'll be going down to Maryland for the weekend. I'm going on a retreat, and a men's retreat. It should be very exciting. And I'm just a traveling person right now. And good to travel. It's good to travel. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I was thinking about what you were saying about the war between Israel and Hamas. Hamas did this thing slickly. They did it on a Saturday, which is the Jewish Sabbath day.
Yes.
And they must have planned this, because the Jewish brothers and sisters, this is where they take their Sabbath. Others take it on a Sunday. Many take it on a Saturday, and Friday and Saturday, Friday evening into Saturday, and it was just so horrible, very horrific at the time. Heard on television that it's not a lot of where they got bombed at. It was not a lot of older people, a lot of young people that was killed. And I just don't know. War is war, and people will never find peace. And this is not just recently. This is going back to the biblical days. This goes back well over 2,000 years ago. War, maybe even further than that. But we're in a place right now. A lot of people are afraid to visit the Middle East or anywhere else around the world. People are scared to go to Europe. But I keep my faith where I'm going to be protected as well. So we got to pray for our brothers in Israel, our brothers and sisters, for our Jewish brothers and sisters. And we're taught to even pray for the enemy too. Let's bring peace. It's just a bad time. It's a sad time right now. But we must go on.
No one saw the war coming. No one saw it. We woke up to this.
You're right. We just woke up to this, and it just happened. So we just keep in prayer that things will be calm and we'll have peace behind this. But in the meantime, we have to continue living. We have to live our lives. We're all not going to stay here forever. So, but good evening to you and to everybody out there who are tuning in. It is 65 degrees out here in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. The weather is changing. The weather is certainly changing, and we're just going to be bracing for. We are in the fall. Pretty soon, I think in another couple of weeks, we will turn our clocks forward. Yes, forward. That's how I know how we do that. We go forward with the fall. The clocks go forward. The spring spring back. So, but yes, we're gonna gain some sleep. But it's going to get chilly. So in sports, not much to report. We are in the middle of right now. We're in the middle of baseball season coming to an end. We're in the postseason right now. None of the New York teams made the playoffs. We got two Texas teams, Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros, are going to face off against one another in the league championship game for the American League. And the Phillies are going to meet, I believe, not the Phillies, but the Diamondbacks, who beat the LA Dodgers. I'm a Giants fan. Anything that happens to the Dodgers, I applaud. That's just a rivalry. No hate, just the Diamondbacks, who swept the Dodgers, who won 100 games. This is the second time this happened in league history, where they won 100 games and they lost. Simple as that. They are waiting to play either the Philadelphia Phillies or the Atlanta Braves. So that's where we're at right now. It's going to be exciting. The Fall Classic, that's what it's called. We're still in the middle of the football. We're in the first quarter of the season is now over. Right now, Thursday Night Football is the Kansas City Chiefs playing the Denver Broncos. That's where we're at right now. And back to that baseball game. Game 4 is on tonight on TBS. Catch it right after the show here. Don't touch that dial. We're going to stay right here to watch this here Talk Back Live. Yes. So we're going to make sure we don't touch that dial. I know. And after that, then we can go to either to the NFL or to the playoffs. This day in sports, October 12th, 1948, Casey Stengel takes over as New York Yankee manager. Yes. 1967, Lou Brock steals World Series record of 7 stolen bases, but Bob Gibson wins the World Series MVP. Yes. 1979, Celtics guard Chris Ford scores the first 3-point basket in NBA history. It also marks the debut of Larry Bird, played his very first game. That same year, in 1979, Irvin Magic Johnson makes his debut for the Lakers, which they won 103-102, a win over the San Diego Clippers. They are now called the LA Clippers. 1989, Dallas Cowboys traded Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings for 5 players and 6 draft picks, which included Emmitt Smith. That was the famous trade where they made the trade, and the trade benefited the Cowboys, who wound up winning 3 Super Bowls. 3 Super Bowls. Yes, 3 Super Bowls. And that was a historical trade. They will, of course, I think that the Vikings have never recovered at all from that. So tough luck. My Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls. Birthdays on this date, 1910. Bob Shepard, yes, public address announcer of the New York Yankees from 1951 to 2007. And he was the public address announcer for the New York Football Giants from 1956 to 2006, was born in Richmond Hill, New York. Many of you all don't know the voice, Bob Shepard. He announces the starting lineup. He's the public address announcer. You hear his names. He has a thunderous voice around the Yankee Stadium, and he's just legendary. today was his birthday. 1936, Tony Kupek, Major League shortstop, known for playing for the New York Yankees and sportscaster for NBC at Madison Square Garden, was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 1940, Glenn Beckert, famous Chicago Cubs second baseman, was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Leon Lett, many of you remember Leon Lett in the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills, where he was about to score a touchdown. He recovered a fumble, running back, and he slowed up. Just when he was about to cross the goal line for a touchdown, what's his name? Bob Beebe, a member of the Bills, knocked it out of his hands, and it was turned back. The Cowboys still won. It was a romp. So, it didn't count. He was born in Mobile, Alabama, but if it was, I was told when I was reading the headlines of the story, that if it wasn't somebody important, Coach Jimmy Johnson would have for sure, no doubt, for sure would have had cut him. So that's a fact. Yes. And happy birthday to Charlie Ward, NBA guard and former Heisman Trophy Award winner, was born in Tallahassee, Florida. And ladies and gentlemen, that is sports on a busy, busy fall night on Thursday night.
Bob Shepard, when he died, after he died, his voice still lingered at Yankee Stadium because they still used his voice. And Derek Jeter, because he used to always, whenever a batter comes to bat, he was always number 2, Derek Jeter, right? Whenever baseball player come on at bat, he would announce it. And Derek Jeter wanted to continue to use that voice long after he died. He did. He used Bob's voice to introduce him. Every time he came up at bat, he used a recording of him. And that's how he paid homage to Bob Shepard.
That's a true fact, because Derek Jeter, after he died in he died recently, but he ended his career as a New York Yankee announcer. I think it was 2007. I'm not sure when he died, but Derek Jeter stayed on until, I believe, 2016, I believe. And you're right. Yes, he requested that Bob Shepard would continue to use his name over the public address system. Just like famous public address announcers at Madison Square Garden, John Condon. I think I'm saying his name right. He was the voice of Madison Square Garden. He was right up there with Bob Shepard. New York voices, are legendary. Not because I'm originally born from New York, but because their voices just lights up sports arenas and sports fields as well.
Well, it's hard to fill someone's shoes like that, especially if you do it so many years. After doing that so many years for Yankee Stadium, he was like part of He was a Yankee Stadium franchiser. He was, they wouldn't, they just let him work until he wanted to. Because some places they say, after a certain age, you should retire. Just like they say in certain sports, at the age of 65, you should retire. Well, not if you're playing, but if you're like, let's say in the front office or something like that, they say after 65, you should retire.
Yeah,
right. He went on. I forgot how old he was. He had to be in his 90s when he died.
Well, he was born in 1910. So he died in 2007. So I'm not sure. It just says that he was the New York Yankee announcer from 1951 to 2007, which tells you that he had to have been still alive from 1910 to 2007. So he was well into his 90s. Yes, 97 years old. Yes.
And his voice was still strong even at that age. Boy.
It is, yeah.
I want to touch on something that you mentioned earlier in your sports about the clocks being set back. Now, I'm going to research this. I'm going to find out, because before we move the clocks up for spring, and I heard this on the news, they said that when fall comes around, they're not going to set the clocks at all. They're just going to let it go because they want a little more extra daylight for people who come home, like they leave their jobs at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. They want that extra daylight. Now, I haven't heard it since. But I think for the schedule for, I can't remember the date. It's the first Saturday in November. Okay, first Saturday in November. It's supposed to set the clock back, but I have to research it. But as far as I know now, we're going to set the clocks back. As far as I know now, but they did something.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about it. They said they were at when the clock is supposed to be brought back an hour at this time, they weren't going to touch the clocks. They were going to let it go, just like they do in Japan. In Japan, they don't set clocks.
Yeah, you know what? That's very interesting because since I've been moving down here, I noticed that New York gets darker quicker than it does down here in North Carolina. It gets darker quicker in North Carolina than it would in Georgia. We're talking about a matter of minutes as well, too. But I tell you one thing, it's not a bad idea because, I used to have to pick up my granddaughter from the bus stop, and she was getting off late last year. She was getting off the bus, I would say like around 5:15, 5:30, and it was dark outside.
Yeah.
And I couldn't let her get off the bus. No place is safe, even though we're right there at the corner. I would meet her at the bus stop all the time, but it was dark. And, that's not a bad idea, but, we don't know what's going to happen. They want to save energy, save whatever, but let's see what happens, To me, I don't think it'd be a bad idea.
I'm going to research it again because they did mention it, and I haven't heard it since. I don't know if that was just an idea they were talking about or they were actually going to do it. But as far as I heard, that they were going to do it. They were going to, when fall comes in, we're not going to set those clocks back. We're just going to let it go because we need that extra 2 hours of daylight. I think it's like extra hour of daylight. Yeah. Extra hour of daylight, so when people get off work at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, there's still daylight left. And for what you said too, you pick up your grandchild from school, it's after 5 o'clock and it's dark because it gets dark at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it gets dark. Yeah.
We'll have to see about that. I remember they did that one time. I don't know if you remember. They did that one time I
don't remember them ever doing it. Maybe before I was born. I have no idea, but it would be something incredible that if they were to do that, I would look forward to that. I could just say, okay, I could do my evening walk outside. I could still do my evening walk, and it would be great, But as the night gets closer to getting dark, it gets a little colder too. So let's see what happens.
Back when they did that, that was the Nixon administration. That was doing the Nixon administration.
Okay, well, I was born, but I just don't remember it. Yeah.
And I remember leaving the house, and at 8 o'clock, it's still dark. 8 o'clock in the morning, it was still dark.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Got to take the bitter with the sweet. So you're not going to be here tomorrow, from what I gather.
You know what? It's a 50-50. By the time I'll be at around 10:20, anywhere between 10 and 11 o'clock, I'm going to be on an Amtrak. Now, Amtrak is totally different from being on a plane. You could walk around the train. You could have a little cafeteria. I'm going to try. I don't know what the Wi-Fi is going to be like, but just in case, I'm going to send my information to you. But I'm going to make every attempt. I'm going to tune in. I might be in and out because of the signal. And, we're going to see how it goes. But I want to make every attempt.
Okay.
Through snow, through rain, through whatever. Brian Camp is going to always make an attempt.
All right. We'll see you. We'll at least have an attempt tomorrow. We'll see the attempt tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Take care of yourself.
Take care.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay. That was Brian Camp, ladies and gentlemen, with the latest developments in today's world of sports. He's here every Friday, also every Thursday here at this time. he's here on Talkback Live and also on the Coffee Hour. So we're going to see what's going to happen tomorrow. We're going to play it by ear. Nevertheless, there'll be sports for you. We'll have sports. It'll be coming up. All right, whether he's here or not. So he's a traveling man, makes a lot of stops all over the world. And I'm sounding like I'm reciting a song here. Ricky Nelson, Traveling Man. Anyway, in case you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talkback Live. My name is Frank Allan, and we're going to be here for the duration of this hour. We'll be here to the top of the hour, and we're so glad to have you along with us. And we're going to tell you that not too far away in the show, before it's all over, we'll have those movies that we talk about so much, all of those Turner Classic movies that are coming along. We add to your bucket list of what to watch, because you may want to do something in the weekend like that in conjunction of what you normally do on the weekend. You want to make plans to jump on some of the old movies that come on. You'd be surprised what we have for you. So that'll be coming on later on in the program. And of course, we hope that you'll be along with us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time right now. Of course, it's talk about on this day in history. And of course, on this day in history, going back to 1901, Theodore Roosevelt renames the executive mansion as the White House. On this day in history, in 1903, the Lyric Theater opens on 42nd Street in New York City. On this day in history, in 1915, the Ford Motor Company under Henry Ford manufactured its first millionth automobile at the River Rouge plant in Detroit. That's where the most cars comes from. They have the plants there, right there in Detroit, Motown. On this day in history, in 1935, Cole Porter's musical Jubilee opens at the Imperial Theater in New York City, and it runs for 167 performances. On this day in history, in 1950, the George Burns Gracie Allen Show debuts on CBS television. It airs until 1958. On this day in history, 1952, KBTV, now KUSA, TV station, Channel 9, on Denver, Colorado, ABC station begins broadcasting. On this day in history, in 1960, John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon's third presidential debate. And back in 1971, Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice rock opera, Jesus Christ Superstar, opens at the Mark Hillinger Theater in New York City. It runs for 711 performances. And back in 1973, US President Nixon nominates Gerald Ford to replace Spiro Agnew as vice president. In 1980, Your Arms Too Short to Box with God closes at the Ambassador Theater in New York City after 149 performances. Back in 1981, the 15th Country Music Association Award goes to Barbara Mandrell and George Jones. And back in 1987, George Harrison releases his single, Got My Mind Made Up on You, becomes his third solo first hit and the last chart topper by any Beatle. In 1988, George H.W. Bush and Michael Dukakis meet in their second presidential debate. In 1991, the Statler Brothers their show premiered on TNN. In 1932, Dick Gregory, American comedian, civil rights activist, and dietitian, was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and he passed away 2017. And operatic tenor Luciano Pavarotti was born on this day in 1935. He was born in Modena, Italy, and he died September 6, 2007 at the age of 71 years old. In 1935, R&B singer Sam Moore from Sam and Dave was born in Miami, Florida on this day. He's 88 years old today. In 1942, Melvin Franklin, bass singer of The Temptations, born in Montgomery, Alabama, and he passed away in 1995. So happy birthday, what he would have been with us, the greatest bass player. He was the greatest bass in the world as far as all of the groups are concerned, Temptations. In 1947, Newscaster Chris Wallace was born in Chicago, Illinois. Chris Wallace is 76 years old today. He's the son of legendary broadcaster Mike Wallace. In 1950, actress Susan Anton was born in Oak Glen, California, and she's 73 years old today. In 1968, actor Rich Adams, I'm sorry, got that backwards, Adam Rich. Adam Rich played Nicholas on that cute little kid that was on Eight is Enough, and he was born in New York City. He died in 2023. And actor Hugh Jackman was born on this day in 1968 in Sydney, Australia. He's 55 years old today. In 1893, education pioneer Booker T. Washington weds Margaret James Murray. And on this day in history, in 1929, U.S. military leader George Marshall weds Catherine Tupper. In 1942, Louis Armstrong weds dancer, he weds dancer Lucille Wilson. In 1980, actor Dustin Hoffman weds businesswoman Lisa Gottschalk. And they got married in Roxbury, Connecticut. In 1991, director Steven Spielberg weds Kate Capshaw. In 2001, singer Natalie Cole marries Bishop. He was a bishop, Kenneth H. Dupree, and they got divorced in 2004. In 2013, actress Rose McGowan weds actor or artist Davey Detail in Los Angeles, California. In 1971, Gene Vincent, who did that hit song, Boop Bop a Leela, She's My Baby, Boop Bop a Leela, I don't mean maybe. Anyway, he died of a bleeding ulcer at the age of 36 years old. In 1972, singer Billy Williams, and he did a song that a lot of you may not remember, only people like me would. I'm going to sit right down and write myself a letter. He died at the age of 61 years old. And in 1985, Johnny Olson, the announcer for The Price is Right, died at the age of 75 years old. In 1990, Ice Cream Man Tom Carvel dies at the age of 84. In 1992, actor John Hancock dies of a heart attack at the age of 51 years old. Country singer John Denver was born on this day in he died on this day in 1997. At the age of 53 years old, he died in a plane accident. And he was born December 31st, 1943. He was born in Roswell, New Mexico. And 2002, band leader Ray Conniff of the Ray Conniff Singer dies at the age of 85. And finally, 2008, soul singer Cliff Noble. Also, he did this big hit, but it was an instrumental called The Horse. Back in the 60s, he dies at the age of 67 years old. And that's this day in history. And if you know anything that's happening on this day in history, please give us some kind of reaction to that. If you know it, use your fingers, type it in, and let us know what's happening. And of course, we'll pass it along to the people who are watching us. But that's this day in history. We thank you so much for being along with us. The name of the show is called Talk Back Live. And we're talking back live to you, and you can get involved in the conversation as well. And we would love to have you aboard with us. If you have anything to say in particular, of course, please feel free. Be my guest. And we talk together. We have a little fun together. And we do this each week, every Thursday. And you can join in the conversation, or sometimes you like to just sit back and just relax. A lot of people like to do that. They rather not indulge in conversation, just rather sit back and relax. But if you're one of those people who want to do that, but you still like to talk to me in some other form, well, you can do that privately too. Yes, you can. Now, you can contact me, and I have two options for you. I have an email address and a telephone number. And I'll give you the email address first. The email address is Frank Allan Prod. Allan is spelled A-L-L-A-N. That's a very important detail. A-L-L-A-N. Frank Allan Prod at AOL.com. Prod is P-R-O-D. That's short for production. That's Frank Allan Prod at AOL.com. Or you can call me at 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. Now, a lot of you may want to get in touch with me for various reasons. One of the reasons may be that you don't want to talk live on the air, but you would write and say, I saw the show, I enjoy it, or I didn't enjoy it. Or you may want to say, I have a good idea for the show, or maybe there's a guest you can get on the show that I would like to see. If you could do that for me, that would be great. Of course, we would love to hear from you. And whatever ideas that you have, we're open ears. And if we could oblige you on that, we will certainly do that. So keep in mind, it's a 24-hour day service, 7 days a week, and you can do that by calling us or emailing us. Email address is frankallenprod@aol.com. That's frankallenprod@aol.com. Or you can call 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced on Monday he's going to be running as an independent candidate in the 2024 presidential race. And almost immediately when he made that announcement, 4 of his siblings denounced his candidacy. Yeah, it's true. They did. The decision of our brother Bobby to run as third-party candidate against Joe Biden is dangerous to our country. And it begins the statement, that's how they begin the statement, which was signed by his siblings, Rory Kennedy, Kerry Kennedy, Joseph P. Kennedy II, and Catherine Kennedy Townsend. And the statement continued, Bobby might share the same name as my father, but he does not share the same values, visions, or judgment. Today's announcement is deeply saddened for us, and we denounce his candidacy and believe it to be perfidious for the country. Now, he went under fire for a couple of things, and one of them, when he said something that was anti-Semitic, remember that? And, when I heard that, I said, well, you know something, his father must be rolling in his grave. I'm pretty sure his father didn't raise him that way. And as I said, he is not running as a candidate, which is his total right. People fall out of their original parties. If you're a Republican, you fall out of that. If you're a Democrat, you fall out of that and you go independent. But he's running as an independent. And so that means he's going to be running against Joe Biden. What are the chances of that? We don't know. And then we have the Speaker of the House. They're waiting for the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House, and they have 2 that are running up, and neither one of them have a fat chance in hell. You have Steve Scalise, who needs, I think, 217 votes, right? Or maybe more than that. But he's not reaching that. And he can't get those votes. He doesn't have those votes. And there's always Jim Jordan, who no one wants to talk to. Jim Jordan, always up in scandal. And of course, Steve Scalise, he was a big supporter of the Ku Klux Klan and David Dukes. So go figure. All right. In my opinion on that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that was not that was for Kevin McCarthy, but I think it was a very bad time for them to release him that way. I don't think they should have released him because they have to have a Speaker of the House. Now they have nothing. And without a speaker, you can't do any business. We're in a big jam right now. They don't have a speaker. They were hoping this past Wednesday they were going to have a speaker. But right now, nothing is going on. So there's no business to be done. And as I said, as time goes on, the Republicans are going to lose the House. Now, you know something? Who knows? Who knows? Perhaps Kevin McCarthy will get right back in the position. But the only reason why I said they should have never let him go that way. I mean, eventually he was going to go. We all know he was going to go. And whether or not he was going to serve, he wasn't going to complete that term anyway. But they didn't even have a plan. They didn't even have a plan B. And so there you go. There you go. So we've got so many aggravating things going on. And then again, of course, I talk about the big war that's happening with Israel and Hamas, that big war. There's Israel have a death toll of 1,300 people, 1,300 people. And Gaza death is 1,417 people, you know, and that's a lot of people to die. And I seen the images today. I looked at it. I saw the images today. It's sad. I was depressed for the whole day. And, you know, the news media, they brought out the images because they felt that the American public should see these images, providing you want to see them, because they do give you warnings before they broadcast them on the air. And they give you a second or two to either shut the TV off or go to another room or something where you can't see it. But I saw the images and they were very devastating. I mean, kids burned to a crisp. People, there are so many people who were like, the women are being raped. Kids were brought out of that nightclub. The young kids brought out of that nightclub and kidnapped, handcuffed, and thrown into cars. And anything that you could imagine went on. And it was sad. And I know, you know, watching the news, you're going to see your favorite reporter not in a good mood. And if I seem that way to you, it's just because it's been a bad day on that front. And watching those things, they kind of depress. And it's enough to keep you awake at night. It really is. And you gotta wonder, you know, what's going to happen with us? You know, we've got some guy that wants to be president once again. And I don't have to mention his name. I just call him 345/666 Beast Incarnate, which pretty soon he's going to be wearing a number on an orange jumpsuit. And that number will be P01135809. That's what he's going to be wearing on that jumpsuit. And he's going to be, you know, and I read the story today, how he latched out at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin, how would you pronounce that? Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu, or Yahoo, right? Latched out at him and telling the crowd, that uncontrollable crowd, the MAGA maggots, I like to call them, in Florida, his supporters, that the country, this is what he said the country's intelligence failed. And at the same time, he says the enemies were very smart. The enemies of that attacked Israel are very smart. Do you know, you ever notice he always go on the opposite side of America? You know? And so, you know, this is what they're going to be looking for. This is what's going to come up. He already told you what he's going to do when he gets into office. He wants to abolish the Constitution, which we all worked hard for. And he wants to do a lot of things he wants to go against the grain of everything. And you got to be very careful when you go to your polls, and be very careful who you vote for. And this is the guy that wants to be president again. With all of the things that are surrounding him, I doubt if it's going to ever happen. But you know, if it were me, I would say, you know, something I can't take. I gotta figure out how to get my life in order, because this thing is making me crazy, and it's not good for the American people, if you have any compassion at all. But we already know he doesn't. And the statement that he made to the people in Florida didn't surprise me, and it shouldn't surprise you, because this is who he is. And you know, he wants to become president. So he's always on the opposite side of what America stands for. Is that what you want in the White House? I don't think so. I think you're too smart for that. And for those of the MAGA people, which right now I don't see any hope for them. But if you happen to be one of the ones that are ready to snap out of that haze and say, hey, you know something, this is not right. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, the situations that's happening in Israel? The people, they went in there and their houses, they took them out of their houses, a place where it's supposed to be your sanctuary, where you know you're supposed to be safe. They took them out, they took their children, they watched parents watch their children being killed, children watching their parents be killed. You know, think about if this guy becomes president, what would happen to us? Is it going to be the same thing? You're in the comfort of your own home, somebody knocks on your door and pulls you out because you're on the other side of what they believe. It's a frightening situation. It's a frightening situation. Be very, very careful who you vote for in 2024. Be very careful and be very afraid. We have our movies, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to talk to you about because these are the movies that I picked from Turner Classic Movies. They're my hand-picked movies, and they are movies that I think you'll like. I think you'll like these movies because they're classics, and you may want to add them to your bucket list of movies on what to watch, just in case you want to watch some movies or catch up on some movies this weekend. Of course, you know, you're welcome to them. And this is what we have right now. So let's get started with that right now. Let's go back to 1951. Here's a great Western, one of my favorite Westerns. I watch it so often that I think I know all of the dialogue by heart. It's called West with the Women, starring Robert Taylor, Denise Darcel, and Julie Bishop. It comes on Turner Classic Movies, and you can see that Saturday at 3:45 p.m. Here's another one. Somebody Up There Likes Me, back in 1956. This is a story about Rocky Graziano. Rocky Graziano. It was played by Paul Newman. And let's see, Pierre Anglely was also in this movie too. And this is on Turner Classic Movies on Sunday at 11:45 a.m. I don't know. If you don't want to be up watching it at that particular time, DVR some of these movies, and then you could watch them at any time you like. All right. To Sir with Love, another one from 1967, Sidney Poitier and Judy Geeson. And that's on Turner Classic Movies, and that's Sunday at 1:45 p.m. So that's a decent time to watch. This is a great movie. I like that. Nice classic. And finally, here's something that I think you like. The same year, 1967, with Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, called Bonnie and Clyde. Ah, you like that, right? Bonnie and Clyde. That's on Turner Classic Movie too. And that's on Sunday. It's on Sunday at 3:45 p.m. Eastern. And it's a great movie, and I think you'll like it. Now, you may want to go to Turner Classic Movie and go and scroll do the program guide, because there may be movies that are there that you may like that I didn't mention, not because I don't like them, only because these are my picks of the week. But there may be others. And you could also DVR them if you don't get to watch them in real time and watch them at your own time convenience. You can DVR all of these movies. All of these movies, by the way, not overlap, so you can watch them in its entirety. And there are other things that you could watch too. There are a lot of great documentaries and children programs and sports that you could watch if you don't get the chance to see the sports that you like in real time. Of course, you can, watch it the following day. And in some cases, it comes on commercials. So here we are. These movies, once again, let me repeat them once again. West with the Women with Robert Taylor, Denise Darcel, and Julie Bishop. That's Turner Classic Movie, Saturday at 3:45 p.m. Eastern. Somebody Up There Likes Me with Paul Newman and Pierre Angrila. And that's Turner Classic Movie, Sunday at 11:45 p.m. Eastern. To Sir with Love, Sidney Poitier and Judy Geeson, Sunday at 1:45 p.m. Eastern. And Bonnie and Clyde with Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. That's Sunday at 3:45 p.m. Eastern, right there. And they're all from Turner Classic Movies. I hope you enjoyed them. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I had a good time as always. I will be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for the coffee hour. Hopefully Brian Camp will be here, even if he's not, we'll have sports anyway. And of course, I hope that you'll be here too as well. If not, meet me back here next Thursday. For more Talk Back Live, Brian Camp will be here too. The latest developments in today's world of sports. So, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a wonderful morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant good night. And I'll see you soon. Take care.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host Frank Allan. The producer is Al Dale. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.